Well, greetings, people of the internet. Unky Joe here, Unky Joe's Playhouse. It's been a while. So today's video is going to be all about what I've been doing for the last, 30, maybe 45 days since I made a video. I know it's been a while. I did a live stream last weekend, and hopefully you caught that. And we'll be back on schedule to do those every Saturday at 10 a.m. moving forward. And then we have a nice little get together in the after party section over on Discord. So if that's your thing, great. So where have I been? Well, I've been taking care of my spouse. For those of you that don't know, my spouse underwent open heart surgery back in April to fix a valve issue, and I'm happy to say that it was a job well done by all the surgeons and doctors involved in the hospital. I can't say enough good things about good people out there who know what they're doing, because my spouse is making a full recovery and is doing fine. Thank you for all the prayers and all of the well wishes there. Greatly appreciate it. So during that time, it's given me, I took a little break from work myself. I kind of slowed down what I was doing for my clients, focused on the family, focused on the house, what needed to get done around here, what needed to get done in my office, my studio here. As you can see, we've made some significant changes, and that's what this video today is all about, those changes and why I made them and where we're going moving forward. Now, moving forward, you're going to see a lot of videos coming out from me on a wide range of subjects. That's what the idea of Unky Joe's Playhouse is all about. Not only do I share my tech passions with you, I share my passions for everything else, whether it's aquariums, solar power, my pool, my yard, maintaining my yard, just, living, plumbing repairs, electrical repairs, everything that might occur with you, everything that you might have to go through as a homeowner. I'm pretty much going to go through it and then some, because I do silly things all the time, like, solar projects, pools, that kind of a thing. So if that's what you're into, you're at the right place. Now, the initial thought was that I would reserve that back room you can see here behind me for everything solar related, and I would get all my computer equipment out of that room and put it out here. Right here is where it used to be, and all would be well with the world, and then I could keep it sufficiently cooled, and it wasn't that loud, it's not real noisy, that kind of thing. And yeah, and I'd have all the blinky lights behind me too. That was kind of a plus, right? Get the blinky lights. And that was fun for a while. And then Big Bertha came onto the scene, and then the Dell 730 came on the scene with dual Tesla P40 video cards, and suddenly things got a little loud around here, and I don't like it loud all the time. I mean, I can deal with it for a little while, but when you got that in combination with the Victron solar gear with the kind of a noisy sounding fan in it, it's my own fault. At the end you're going, it's too loud. So I don't want to reveal too much information right now. So let's just get into the video, and you can see for yourself what we've done. So you can see what I'm faced with. Now, a lot of this is clutter. I mean, this is space I don't normally use. I should put it to good use, so it's just kind of accumulated a bunch of stuff. I still work at this desk, I mean, when I'm working, but the idea was this was going to be, a set where I film things, and it just didn't work out that way. The other brilliant idea I had was to put this rack out here. And in hindsight, well, let's talk about the pros of this. It made a great backdrop for some videos I was doing, and that's where it ended. And it's just not, I'm not happy with it here. When I really want to do some intense computing, for one thing, I don't have all my computers on here. I've got another rack I could put these switches on. I just don't like where it is, how close it is to my desk. And then there's my workbench over here, which you can see, that's because of a plumbing project going on that is just about complete. But I've decided I'm not going to try to make sense out of this table until I make sense out of this, and out of this, my work area. So anyway, I'll take you on the tour. So here's my plan. I'm going to knock out a wall. Yeah, it's my bathroom. I'm gonna knock out a wall, but not where you think I'm gonna knock out a wall. Let me move this out of my way. The wall I'm gonna knock down is this one. Right where these aquariums are, right underneath this mini split. So that rack is about 2 feet wide, and it'll go right into the spot on this wall, and then the back end of it can then hang into the equipment room. It'll come out, it'll go through the wall here and come out to about here. And then what that'll allow me to do then is move all those switches up to here, after I make sure that's secure on the wall. We know the last experience I had with that. And then I can move these servers, this one, and Bertha, onto the rack, and everything will be in here, and then everything I need to access from the back will be right here, and I'll still have room to put 2 racks of 6 batteries. So the goal is to have 12 batteries, and I can get 2 racks. They're about $250 a rack just for the rack unit, and it'll hold 6 batteries, one there and one here. I'll have to move that panel up and move this up, but it's not big, Anyway, that's the plan. Now, how long is this going to take? I don't know, because I've got life and I've got work, and I've just started doing YouTube videos again, and so I'm sure it'll be a project with many phases. Now, what do I do? I'm going to lose all this storage space here. Well, no, not really, because you see all this stuff in here? A lot of this stuff I don't have any use for anymore. I need to, and I'm just holding on to it for the sake of holding on to it. I've been given donations and parts and old routers, and nobody wants them. I have nowhere to take them. I'm going to go through this with a fine-tooth comb. But anyway, the point is that this is going to come, aquariums and all, over to where this is, where the rack is. In fact, it's just long enough to go from here about to the front of the table if I put it horizontally like this rack is. Instead of turning it on its end, turn it like that. And that should then give me aquarium and plenty of space to come by here, because right now I find myself it's kind of close quarters. I find myself hitting the rack, so that'll be a plus. I'll be able to put probably another light over here, because you can see this corner is kind of dark here, along with that corner, but normally I have LED lights on, but for some reason they're off. Anyway, and that'll allow me to kind of clean up this table. I'll have some more space to put things in these bins up here. Those bins will all come over here. So yeah, wish me luck. So we're making some progress. Sorry about the light, but so I've got the opening all framed out. Put my studs in. I'll show you in the back here in a minute. I moved the outlet that was down there, and I moved it up here, so it's closer to the stuff. I don't know that that's up to code. Again, check your area, but I'm putting it where I want it. So now we have a 25, it's almost a 25-inch opening here. It's 51 3/4 inches tall. Plenty of height for that rack to get under, even with the sill in the bottom. And now I'm over on the back side. So here's the new studs I put in. So here's the stud I cut, and I put a new stud in horizontally and one vertically. And then I put my outlet in here. This is the feed coming from the panel, feeds into the outlet, and then it's going to have a wire coming up over here to feed this box, which then goes up to the light and is the feed to the south side of the house. So that's this light up here, and then this circuit goes up and then feeds this wall of the house down. So now what I need to do is get this switch back in and wired. I've moved the switch from over here to in here, which I think is fine. That way you can just come in and flip the light on. It'll turn this light on up here right now the circuit's disconnected. So let me get the electricity wired back up. That'll be fun. All right, so the rack is gone, and pardon the lighting in here. Here, get a little more light in here, but the rack is gone, and in its place is the 38-inch rack that had the 10-gallon aquariums on it. Right now everything's a hot mess because it's been moved around, and the surveillance cameras did not stay running because I moved everything. But as you can see, I have got everything inside the wall. I went ahead and moved the outlet box was down there where the rack is now. Went ahead and moved that up here. And so the object was, I also had to take out the piece of wood that went across between the 2x4s. It just wasn't cooperating. I couldn't get the rack over the top of it. The rack fits. I've got Big Bertha in there on the bottom. I've got my 730 Dell, then a 630 Dell, and then a Prometheus, which is a Intel. And then I've got Super Epic, and then on top of that the SE450. And then over here on the rolling cart I've got the SRV 650 V2. So no more light switch here to turn on the light for the equipment room. Instead, I've moved that switch right here. So as you come in, there's the cables. I've marked them. Which one goes to the for the dining room, and which one goes to the feeder for the south side of the house, and which one goes to the lights. Then that goes over here, and then down to the outlet right there, as you can see. And then I got my Synology stuff here. My Dream Machine Pro and my 10 gig switch are in the rack, and this one I'm having some trouble with some. Anyway, I'll come back to that later. I've got this 24 port switch hooked up temporarily as I'm doing some work, and then I went ahead and put a new drain in for the air conditioning. So there's the tube for the drain for the AC going into the 1-inch PVC pipe that then goes down and out through the bottom of the floor. I had to improvise a little bracket there, but it all worked. It's holding on good. I went ahead and put some more screws in this rack so it doesn't pull out of the wall again, and we reinforced it with a board. So yeah, so this rack we're kind of tight for space, because keep in mind it's a little further over this way than it was when I had it in there, but it works. And worst case, I need to pull this rack out to get to something back here, I can do it. But it works really well. It looks nice. It's definitely much quieter in here when the time comes. Right now it's about 1 in the morning and I am beat. I'm going to go to bed. It's about Yeah, 1:27 Sunday morning. So I'm gonna go get some sleep, and yeah, I'll see you at the end of the video. All right, so I'm doing something a little differently. What I've decided to do is take this fiber cable here and have this connect over to my telco rack in my office over there in the corner. I'll show you here in a minute. The idea is to replace this black cable, which I don't need to use for this, with fiber. Even though I don't have 10 gig over on the, well, I do have 10 gig over in the switch. You'll notice something that isn't here. That's my 24 port switch. I didn't see any reason putting it in here because you get an 8-port switch with the Dream Machine. So why have another switch in here? Plus I get 10 gig over Ethernet here and SFP plus ports. So I thought it was a better idea just to put the 10 gig switch in here and the Dream Machine Pro. So anyway, back to what I was saying. This one goes over the other side of the room, and then it's going to come over here to the telco rack. Look at all that lovely space I've freed up. So over here in the telco rack, there's the wire. It comes across and then down the floor, so I got to be careful not to step on it. And it comes up here, and I've said goodbye today to this switch that the one right up here, the MikroTik, that a gracious subscriber donated to me years ago. It's going to stay here in the rack. It's just not going to be used. I'm going to put another switch on top of it, and then on top of that I got my Unify 8-port PoE switch that powers that and my camera, and is the stepping stone for the rest of the network, which is now via 10 gig fiber, but is only connected at 1 gig, comes to here. And then I had another subscriber, Medicurb, donate this USW 10 gig aggregation switch, and I'm connecting that between the two so that in the future I'll be able to do 10 gig. However, I didn't think this thing through. I need to think this through. This connection probably needs to be here, and then let it get its connection from there. I think that's probably a better way. Have the 10 gig come in here, and then have the 1 gig, have it come up to here with a 1 gig, and then 10 gig back to the 10 gig. I think that's a better idea. So let me switch that around. So it's not exactly complete. I've still got a messy desk to deal with, but as you can see, I've got the location set up for all my stuff. I got my new switches. I got my existing switches over here, old switches piled above. I still got room for a couple of PCs down there that you'll recognize I've done some videos on. I got room for 2 aquariums here and another storage shelf down there. I can push this chair into the corner when I'm not needing it for my dog. I've got all my tools laid out on the tool board behind me. That's going to be getting a facelift as well. I'm not real happy with that. And I think I'm going to replace this table with a roll-around toolbox and workbench. I haven't made that decision up yet because this thing is 6 feet long. The toolbox is only a little over 4 feet long, maybe 5, so we'll have to get used to it. And right now, this is where I stage all my projects. So I just got done with some electrical. So this means all these tools need to be put away. I'm evaluating some remote controls. I've got the home voice assistant to go over and figure out how to get that set up. I've got my Wacom tablet I got for my birthday. I got these which need to be put away, the rack studs, and I got a bunch of projects on here that are pending to be done. But what I don't have is a rack sitting here behind my desk. Nor do I have a shelving unit. So I have, if you look from this side, the flow is just so much better. That you got at least, I'd say, 5 feet here to go past. And yeah, and I even had room to put a side table here next to my chair. Yeah, it's still a work in progress, folks. I still got to put stuff away. But you can see it gives me a lot more room to work. And then I have my workbench back here where I deal with my laptops and client PCs, and I've got my little monitor screen here for my solar, so I can see what's going on a tablet in a moment's notice. This is my PFSense router here for my workstation area here. This is on my, I have two internet connections. I have two fiber connections. One is from Spectrum, which gets me a gigabit down and 25 up, and then my other one is a gigabit symmetric. So, and there's a switch for that other network. My solar stuff hanging on the wall still, and what I did was I extended this circuit here. I had another breaker available, so I extended this 20 amp circuit, ran another cable up and over, and you can see we still got my tanks here, bathroom in the background. So you can see just this room now has a nice flow to it, and it's getting louder as we get over here. And then this Lenovo, as I said, will be going into the rack, and I still have some cleanup to do in this area. I want to try to keep this clean so that I can do a secondary shot location if I need to use this for a future production. I got a box of trash here, and then here is the rack, and you can see I got quite a bit of stuff on. Bertha's running the UPS. I've got a Dell 630 up and running. I've got Prometheus, and I've got the Super Epic running, and they're all fitting in there nicely. The air conditioning is conditioning the air, and I got some more pictures hung, and yeah, these are I love these guys, favorite pictures. And then here's the equipment room, and as you can see, we got all the electrical moved. I moved that switch, I moved that plug the other day, and we come in here to the equipment room. You can see we've got my Synology NASs on top of a piece of plywood. I've secured, got the drain line secured and put in place. All the cables for the switch are all working as they should. And all my equipment's a little loud in here. The 6000 XP is making lots of electricity from those solar panels. It's like 90 outside, so it's 87 in here. It's supposed to be hot today, up to 104. So there you go. There's the studio. Again, still got a little bit of cleanup to do. Got some wire down here I got to throw away. Fish are doing well. And yeah, it went remarkably well. It's taken the better part of, well, I'll tell you what, let me go back to my desk and I'll tell you how long it's taken and why. Yeah, it's frankly taken so long because I had a plumbing project going on I need to complete before I put all my plumbing tools away, because I hate having to go grab them. I keep all my tools like organized into what I use them for, like electrical, plumbing, and I have a bucket or a box for each one. So I just wait till I'm done with all my plumbing before I put my tools away. So I had lines to run on the front of the house. I had new lines I had to run to the back. I had to fix the pool plumbing, bunch of stuff. And so now that all the plumbing's done, I could continue on with the work in the studio. Now, the idea to move that rack into that wall was just a spontaneous spur of the moment thing. I was standing in there and going, God, it would be great if that wall wasn't there, you know? And then I did a little thinking, and you know, that just leads to disaster for Unky Joe when he thinks, and decided now was the time to do it. So even with all the servers running behind me, here's about what I'm getting decibel wise. Now, before I did all this, it was about 70 decibels. So yeah, it's quite an improvement. I didn't think the noise would get to me, but the more I use Big Bertha, and I only turn Big Bertha on when I'm doing a project, but the more I use her, the more I can hear her. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad I made the change. So there you go. We hope you found the video entertaining and informative. As always, please leave your comments down in the comments section. Give us a thumbs up down below so YouTube knows you're engaged. Also, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that little notification bell so you'll be notified of any new videos when they come out. I'm glad I'm back. I'm looking forward to making more videos and keeping y'all entertained, and I appreciate you coming back month after month and year after year. You're a loyal group, and I do appreciate it. So have a great day, and don't forget, we'll see all of you on the other side.
I've been watching old Unky Joe. From Texas heat to where the cacti grow. Fixing server solar power in the land, hoping that his plans all stand. Making life a touch more bright underneath those southern lights.